Welcome back to the show where we talk about anything and everything about L&D. This is the Trainers Lounge, and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon as we share another afternoon of insights, especially about our topic today. The different emerging roles of an L&D professional. Wow, I can't wait to talk about this topic. It's something that opens the eyes of a lot of L&D professionals on what they can do in their company and how they can improve in different aspects of being an L&D professional. Well, before we go on and move on to our topic today, please don't forget to like and share our videos. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay updated with our videos. For those who missed our previous episodes, don't worry, you can still watch them on our Facebook page and YouTube page. Just visit Circle Logical Group Facebook page or CLDP Philippines Facebook page. We are also in YouTube, Circle Logical Group YouTube page. All right. Well, without further ado, let's meet our guest for today. So, our guest for today has over 10 years of human resources leadership practice in the BPO, education, marketing industries, and now he is the specialist for learning and development of Dover Business Services or Shared Service Center. He graduated with a psychology major and a certified learning and development professional as well. Without further ado, Mr. Henry Ceniza, CLDP. Ayan. Sir
All
Henry,
right.
good
Okay, good afternoon, Kevin. Good afternoon, trainers. Good afternoon
afternoon.
to everybody who is watching us today. And I'm so happy to be here. I'm just so excited to share what I think about the topic. And,
Ayan.
so
Oo
happy
nga
here.
naman. Another afternoon of insights and of course no, kamusta naman diyan sa inyo? Is it too hot? Kamusta yung weather diyan sa inyo?
In Cebu, it's a bit gloomy. But
Ooh.
I think we are kind of used to that since we were having this for the last 3 months. So yeah,
Ah,
we're kind of used to this already, and we're kind of enjoying it as well. So we have
dito
it is
naman
what
sa
it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. But dito naman sa amin, it's a bit hot. It's on the hotter side of things. And well,
Mhm.
I hope you're doing good there. And well, uh, before we move on and talk about the emerging roles of an L&D professional, I would like to know more about you, of course. So, well, first things first, how did you get into L&D?
Okay, good question, Kevin. Now, well, back in HR, I was exposed already in doing training. I was
Mm-hmm.
also doing recruitment, or now we call it
Mm-hmm.
talent acquisition. So
Yeah.
more of a generalist. And then, if there were chances or opportunities for me to conduct training, um, look into the development of our, employees or my colleagues, that's something I really enjoy doing. And it took some time for me to really realize, that hey, this is what I'm called for. This is, I think, my calling. Um, when I had the chance to really speak and share, certain topic, I was given a chance to do training. The more I am engaged to doing it. So,
Ah,
but
I
I did
see. I
not.
see.
So after maybe like a couple of years doing HR as a
Mm-hmm.
generalist, um, and then there comes an opportunity to really play an L&D role. That's when I get I got this chance with Dover. So I'm really enjoying it, and the way I see it, I myself is a learner. So that's something I can probably like invite to everybody else, that learning is key to anybody's success as long as you keep learning.
Okay, so I see. Is it safe to say that accidental L&D din ang kwento natin?
You got it right.
Accidental L&D. Pero you've always, well, I mean, you started off your career as an HR. Was it always the plan as well? Or parang aksidente din yung pagiging HR?
Okay. Um, I already have a vision of doing HR back then, because I thought of,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I can go into a schoolwork like guidance and counseling. I
Mm-hmm.
can go into like rehabilitation services. But I was already sending my applications to industries, corporations. So I already see myself doing HR.
I see. Well, I think I've had a lot of guests here na rin, no, na accidente, not just accidental L&D professional, but also accidental HR. Well,
Mhm.
me included there. All right. Well, now that things have changed and the way we do, which is a topic that we really, sometimes touch upon, no, because it's very common, the pandemic. And
Right.
how about you? How has L&D changed during the pandemic?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I see it that it has changed the approach to learning, because
Mm-hmm.
like LMS has been around for quite some time, right? But it has even been more maximized this time, to the point
Yeah.
that we go even just making we go beyond making the materials themselves, even carrying out the training online. We have the synchronous, asynchronous, the virtual, the blended training that we like to do. And it took a lot of adjustments for L&D practitioners or trainers, right? So, but at the same time, I see that the pandemic has opened a lot of opportunities to L&D practitioners. And that's something to celebrate about, you know?
I see, I see. Well, yeah, I think I agree with the focus on LMS. Actually, it is a common thing, naman eh, no? It has
Mm.
been there. It's been available for quite a while, but we I don't know if we just kind of got used to the traditional way of teaching, no, yung classroom led base, or instructor led base training or teaching. But yeah, when we weren't able to go out anymore, LMS came
Right,
into the rescue, ayan. Or yung virtual training ika nga, that they call.
right.
Mhm. Well, how about you? Were there specific challenges that you felt nung nag-transition tayo into this new normal?
Oh, I would say, being an able,
Mm.
technology savvy
Ayun,
in
oo.
learning, with the learning tools. That's something very challenging, especially for people probably maybe like over 40s, or I don't know, not so about generational something, but
Mm.
it required a lot of adjustments. Technology has been our key player to carry out L&D, but there's nothing there's no other way but to really adapt to these technologies, and we have to really develop ourselves to be a master of it. And until now, I'd say we are surviving doing that. Not really thriving at it as of yet, but we're trying to keep up.
Mhm.
Technology every day, it's always evolving, and we have to really just evolve ourselves too. So that's why there are a lot of emerging roles that L&D are into. Even like, even if you are at the entry level of doing L&D, there are certain roles that you may be surprised about yourself, that, oh, you have to do this. So that's, for me, it's an eye opener to
Mhm.
really be conscious, to really be more flexible on the different roles that L&D is trying to demand from our role, from our profession.
Alright, I see. Well, oo no, technology, actually parang sumabay din yung technology eh, on that part eh, no? That they had to give more, they had to offer more in terms of the features that they have. Well, recently the news about Facebook, if you're familiar with it, right? Changing
Yeah,
itself into what's the name again? Meta,
the
was it? Yeah,
metaverse.
Meta. Yeah, something like that. And then I saw it. It felt like parang magandang pan training to kasi it's a virtual area or virtual space ika nga, na
Right.
even though you don't see each other face to face, it gives you the chance to be creative on how you meet. something like that. So I think that's something to look forward to. But yeah, I totally agree with what you just said. No, kailangan talaga mag-adjust, and not just us but also the technology. No? Well,
True.
you mentioned also the roles that we need to do as L&D professionals, whether it's on the entry level or on the higher level, and I think let's first try to categorize. Is that the right term, or to identify
Mhm.
first? No, yung mga roles na to. So, what do you think are the different emerging roles of an L&D professional?
Mm, good question, Kevin. Well, as an L&D professional, I think it's very important to have this business consultant mindset because,
Okay.
um, yeah, because there are certain expectations that you have to really be able to carry out what the organization needs. So, as having the business consultant mindset, it's more of aligning to what your organization is demanding. So you have to keep this or build this strong relationship with the business line and the managers, the leadership, and become a trusted partner for achieving the business results. And as a consultant, that's a hat that L&D professionals should wear, that we are expected to identify the specific gaps. So it comes with a deeper understanding of the business, where the business is heading. And it's not just about receiving certain instructions
Oo, oo nga
because
naman.
as consultant, we have to ask the right questions to get the organization where they want to be in, right? So we would look into the holistic approach, in developing the business, in developing the people in the organization, and then from there we can recommend actions that may or may not include learning element. So it happens. I think it's very common for some organizations to probably like almost all probably um, issues or
Mhm.
concerns think that training can address or learning and development can address. So during the business consultancy session or the discovery session would take place, that's actually the best opportunity, best chance for us to identify if it's really something that L&D can solve, if it's
Oo.
a really L&D issue.
Eh, yan yung mahirap kasi minsan like they think L&D can fix most of the problems in the company, but it depends, I guess. That's why
True.
we have TNA, or yeah, in the business consultancy side, or yeah, you have to first check if it's applicable or not.
True, true. So yeah, that idea, I think it's very important to have that mindset already when you do L&D, because if you don't have that, you just keep on try to see the best things. It might work, but you may not be hitting the right target. You might not be hitting the best results that you can give to the organization. That's why you have to ask, do the discovery session and TNAs. Oh, Kevin, I cannot hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Oh,
I think I'm
yeah.
hello. All right, sorry for that. I think I'm having connection issues. But anyways, yeah. So you mentioned business consultant mindset. What else can we say, or can we identify as an emerging role for L&D professionals?
Right. Another thing is about being a content curator.
Curator.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. It's already common. It's already given that when you are in the L&D space, you should be able to come up with certain content in a way like you are creating, or a content creator or content developer. But as content creator, curator this time, it's more of aggregating most useful information that would be very
Mm.
helpful and strategic for the organization, both internal and external. and trying to put it into one place and organize it so it can be easily found. I'm looking at the continuous learning model, that there is a certain place for people in the organization can just check it anytime that they'd love to access it. So being able to create that gallery that they have reference of and just check it. And another thing, why it's important to be like a content curator, is to contextualize gathered information. So like we can tag, we can make organize or order the contents and the curriculum that we have, or adding some background information and rating the content, and of course maintaining information and the learning assets, so it will stay relevant and up to date, because you know times are changing, so are the facts, so are the skills. That's why we have to upskill, reskill, relearn, unlearn those things, right? So as curator, we have to be really up to date from time to time. We cannot just stay obsolete. So that's something I see an important role of an L&D professional.
Okay, so content creator. Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to teach something if you don't know the topic, right? Or at least gather the enough content for it to work, or for it to be enough sa mga trainers, or sorry, sa mga learners, ayun, sa mga learners and sa mga participants natin. Uh, it's different in content creation, content creator more on the research side, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken. So you need at least a curious mind, or a sense of knowing things pa, to make you a good content curator. All right. Well,
Yeah,
we,
I
sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
Kevin. Sorry. I like that what you said about, it takes a lot of certain curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is important for a person, or a L&D professional, to be curious from time to time. Just to see if the things that are, or that have been laid out, would still work. I love the curiosity that you mentioned.
All right, ayun. Well, we've talked about business consultant mindset, and also content creator. Do we still have another emerging role as L&D professional?
Yeah, I'd like to make it the three
Three
emerging
roles.
emerging roles that I see. One thing is about being a communications manager, because
Ah, see.
because as L&D professionals, there are certain, probably like training, or probably like a course that most organization would recommend to their
Mm-hmm.
employees, to their team members, and some team members would not just be so interested, would not just be so enticed to take those. Um, as communications manager, or L&D professional taking that communications manager role, we have to make our marketing of the course enticing and attractive and
Ayun,
engaging,
oo.
right?
Kasi I think sometimes even if it's mandated by the management, they'd still feel that I need to do this training because I was told to. Because but if no, if we were able to present it, if we were able to communicate it properly, at least we could spark some sense of interest in our participants.
That's true. That's true. And we have to make that consistent overall messaging as well.
Mm-hmm.
About L&D. Why there is L&D? What's the purpose of L&D? And making that an impact to them. That the reason why they're having that kind of learning, that kind of course, it's for them to grow professionally or even personally. And sometimes people cannot just freely internalize that. So, not all the time, not all the
Oo nga,
time, like
oo nga naman.
not all the time. So even I wouldn't understand, back in college. maybe I'm not just a good student before, but I just don't understand some subjects. Why I'm taking this, diba? So I think it's more of communicating the reason why or the purpose why we're having this kind of course, and that's one way to improving how our learners should perceive learning and how important that is to them. Diba? So more of that, and branding that learning function, because when we are able to really promote, when we are really able to advertise that
Mhm.
particular program, then the more they are um, going to buy that program. So one thing I like about this one as well, because we're trying to sell an idea from time to time, diba? So selling an idea is quite challenging, but it is always rewarding when you accomplish that, right?
All right. Well, letting them know now we're here to do this, and also getting their attention is the best way, no, to communicate our goal. Sometimes kasi hindi na nako-communicate talaga na maayos na why we conduct training. Like, okay, sasabihin ng higher ups, do this, do that. Pero yung mga participants, uh, I'm not saying all of the time, but there are cases and sometimes it hinders with the progression of learning. Eh. Kasi they're not in the mindset na, oh, I'm going to learn today. Hindi siya ganun eh. Yung mindset nila is, I need to, ay, may training pala. Oh, I didn't know about this. So why do I need to do this? Something like that. So yeah, I think one way for us, no, to make sure training happens properly is to communicate it well. All right.
Right, right. And there are many kinds of learners, diba? Some just go to the classroom and So our role is really creating impact even before a certain training would happen. So that's why we should have this communications manager mindset. Oh.
Ayun. All right. Well, you mentioned three of the emerging roles: a business consultant mindset, a content creator mindset or role, and also a communications manager. Now, I want to go deeper, or maybe just pull out the main theme from each of those roles. No? So let's talk about why they are important in terms of our jobs. So first, let's
Mm.
go back to business consultant mindset. Why is it important, no, to be a business consultant?
Right. Okay. Now, it is crucial to be a business consultant to really address any performance issues, probably, or carrying out certain coaching and mentoring program, um, and even like improving performance and providing support for that particular person or particular team, or even the entire business. Strategically wise. Being the consultant, having the consultant hat is it is helpful in a sense that you are trying to get to the main target. You're trying to hit it on point. So
Mm-hmm.
another thing for that is integrating talent management, and just to be aligned with the business, because that's so critical. If we don't have the consultancy mindset, we just probably would plainly do carrying on task without understanding the business needs. So that's kind
Okay.
of tragic. Right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
more it's more of getting aligned to where the business is heading. So yeah.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, next is content curator. Why is it important for us, or why is it important to be a content creator in the L&D industry?
Good question. Well, as a business, I mean, as a cre- content curator, it's important to have a goal to be effective in using the learning methods. So, like having the proper and the correct knowledge management or the curation itself, and the ways to deliver the training, what could be effective for these kinds of learners, and it's also important how these learners would prefer and how the learning would be more effective for these learners, because some would just have a one size fits all approach, and it it would be smart to identify the kinds of learners that we are trying to deliver training to, right? So, um, and another thing, the technology
I know.
that we have to be effective at. Um, because we might just go live in doing training via certain technology, and there are some bloopers, and it's funny. It's kind of funny if it happens, but to the learners, it's something probably they might not just maybe forgive, not all the time, right? As L&D, they're having this high expectations already.
And yeah, I see. I see.
So yeah.
Well now, going to the third one. Why is it important to be a communication manager?
Very good. Um, it's important to be a communications manager, to be efficient in telling to people that we have these training. It's being efficient in making them understand the importance of the particular course that they're trying to learn. Um, it's also about focusing on the marketing communication. It's important for us to be in that role, or in that it's important for us to wear that hat, so they would be attracted to learn more. um, it's one way of making learning fun as it could be, right? So sometimes, just, oh, I might be staying in front of the computer and, attend these, blah, blah. And there's the challenge right now with doing training online and facing the computers with the participants, because we cannot really tell what the participants are doing, especially when the cameras are off,
I
right? So
know. I know. Oh my God, preach.
right? So, being efficient in communicating the importance of the training that they're attending would
Mhm.
have this intrinsic motivation for them to learn. It has to come from them, right? That, the reason I'm attending this, because I want to learn this, I want to develop this. So the communication that we make is already a prelude that this is how crucial this information that we're trying to give you. So uh, it's the motivation that we're trying to give when we communicate, and we try to be efficient in communicating.
I see. Well, yeah. I kind of had some flashbacks now when it comes to, not students, participants, yeah, not really understanding what the goal is of the training, and sometimes it's hard to get their attention, and yeah, there I'm having nightmares ng mga participants that would close their cameras, and you not knowing that, are they still there, do they understand what I'm trying to do, do they understand what's the purpose of this day or this training. So yeah, uh, it is really important to have a sense of being a communications manager, kahit on the basic level lang, it will help you a lot in terms of it's actually not the training itself din no, iba pa yung communications when we discuss a lesson, and also iba din yung uh, communications needed when we try to convince them, we when we try to tell them what it is or what we're trying to do,
Mhm.
and give them a heads up. Ayan. Parang giving them what to expect on this training. Right.
Right.
Well, with those three emerging roles, I would like to ask you personally, which one do you prefer? Kumbaga, ano yung, which one is your favorite? Parang ganun ba? Or which role excites you the most? Yun na lang.
Okay. Huh. Well, to be fair, with the roles that I'm seeing, I mean, these three roles, they're like hands and feet, and the body itself, that they have to really work together. Otherwise, there's a certain special need to have one, diba? But just to answer that question,
Mhm.
something I'm very much inclined to doing, or excited to do, is the communications manager role,
I
because
see.
I'd say I'm more of a marketing type of guy. That
Mm-hmm.
I always take almost every situation that I'm trying to sell something, that I'm trying to sell an idea. um, I always have that kind of you know perspective whenever I am assigned to do a particular task or responsibility. So yeah, the challenge before the actual event is actually a big um, chance to really propel and succeed in that particular assignment. So you know there's a certain quote about that, war
Okay.
begins before the battle, something like that. I don't know, I forgot. But it takes a lot of preparation, and being a communications manager is one that should you know make the L&D program succeed. you know.
Okay, I see. I think
How
ako
about
naman,
you?
ayun nga, I think sa akin naman, siguro it has something to do with my background as an academic person. I used to do teaching kasi back then, senior high school. I want learning stuff. Not just not just because I need to learn it, but I like to read stuff. So I think content curator is my preference in terms of these three roles. I mean, yeah, I also like doing communications, pero sometimes it's satisfying na or mas satisfying pa minsan yung makagawa ka ng isang plan or isang training program based on what you research, on what would be applicable or what would be good in this problem, how to solve this problem, than the training itself. Than delivering
Right.
the training itself. No? Parang, kasi yung ano eh, yung training itself, it's like the execution, but the planning behind it, learning what it is, learning what can be applied, yun, I think that was much more, or that is much more enticing to me. Para mas gusto ko siyang gawin. Which I've already done na rin. No? There are topics kasi sometimes, hey, ano to, ganyan, so what's this, what's that? How can I better improve this? Na ito lang kasi yung alam kong level, something like that.
I agree with you, Kevin. um, I think it's safe to say that there is a lot of work before the actual training, and that's what content curation does, right? Or even during the development stage, there are a lot of things that are done before the actual day, because the actual day is just the legwork, delivering interactions. I'm not discounting the challenges during the actual
Yeah,
day.
yeah, of course, yeah.
But there's a lot of effort that is being required before it. So yeah, I agree with you.
Ayan. Well, now that we've mentioned the importance of these roles, no, or the three roles that we've had, of course, hindi naman porket na sa L&D ka na or you're a L&D professional, you already know how to do them. So for those that are struggling or not yet sure if they are on that level already, what are the capabilities of for L&D professionals do you need to focus on?
Right. So for aspiring L&D professionals, and I myself consider it one of those, because I'm a work in progress as well. I always have that hunger to learn, the hunger to really improve myself, my craft, my skills, especially on developing or designing, or even during the TNA period, um, during the consulting stage or performance consulting stage. Um, there are certain capabilities like change management, business intelligence or analytics, that those are things that we should really look into when we do our TNA. So when we actually have the right numbers to measure, that's a lot easier. That would be a lot easier to get the buy-ins of the stakeholders. So because it's always numbers driven, and the more numbers you're able to present, you're able
Mm-hmm.
to determine what to measure. It's easier for have a healthier discussion and get their buy-ins, right? And um, well, it's basic to have the content development capabilities, able
Okay,
to
yeah.
design structurally, having the information or learning architecture. Those are expected capabilities of an L&D. But along the way, when you try to do that, you will
Mm-hmm.
learn more. You will develop yourself more. Um, One thing I also like to impart is be with certain groups, like CLDP, for example. Like having this group, I mentioned earlier, I'm a self-taught learner, so I
Mm-hmm.
I make research, and I cannot just rely on myself all the time. So I need to be with the right people who can empower, who can support me, um, that I can get insights from. So the skills, the capabilities, those are the list that you can just look into and try to get on to your stuff. But another important thing is to be with the right people. So join groups,
Mm-hmm. Join
before
groups. Oh, ang dami dyan. Yeah, yeah.
ang daming groups talaga that you can just join, and there's no membership at all. There are free. There are some who has a membership, but go for the ones that are free. Anyways, you also get this, the insights. You get to learn from them. So one thing funny I'd like to share. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there are webinars now. Most of the webinars, they actually are selling certain tools and all, but prior to selling the resources, there are information that are very critical and helpful to your career. So just join that. Nothing to fear. Go join and learn a lot. So yeah, stay
All
curious,
right.
kumbaga.
True, true. That's true. Well, yeah, capabilities kasi naman, they can be developed. All right. If you don't have them, try to discover them and work on it. Ika nga, in order for you to, ang L&D kasi on itself, well, not officially, but it's like an HR team on its own na rin kasi, eh?
Right.
It has back end preparations, and at the same time, it has the teaching itself, yung act of teaching and conducting the lesson itself. So, a lot
Right.
of capabilities are around this industry, and it's just up to you finding a whether to find out your strengths and weaknesses, and if you're willing to work on them. Yeah.
Mm.
And well, moving on to the development of a person as an L&D professional, no, yung mga skills naman. So, what are the success skills that you can advise for L&D professionals to learn or kailangan na meron sila?
Okay. So it's essential for an LD professional to have the analytical skills,
Mm-hmm.
also the critical skills. Um, those two things are crucial to have, or important to have, because you would have to see the needs of the organization on a more straightforward, in a more objective way, that you can possibly do. Otherwise, you can just be you can just go on silo. Um, you might just be thinking of what other companies are doing. You might just follow it, and it might work, but most of the time it might not, because you're not really hitting the right button. So when you have the analytical skills and critical skills, that will really equip you to be more objective and staying on track. So I think those two skills are essential for an L&D professional. Other things, the basic ones, content development and delivering the training, you can actually do it if you just have that certain level of passion when you try to talk, and you feel like you can actually make your participants engage. Well, you're good at it already. but those two skills, you should keep it and improve it over time.
All right. I want to add something. I want
Sure.
to give focus then. I think this falls under analytical. Uh, the need to do research. Yeah.
True.
Actually, even when I was teaching, the research is my favorite subject to teach and to do as well. And I cannot stress enough how many ideas that we can get from research, how many things that we can discover with research. I mean, it is the essence of doing research. To figure out things, to find out new things, or to test things. Ika nga. So I believe if you're a trainer, it is a must that you have this sense of being a researcher, being curious always of what you can learn and what you can do and how you can do it and how you can deliver it. No, but yeah, I can't stress enough how much I have checked the research side of things and how it has helped me over the past few challenges that I have, especially no, especially if I don't know the topic that well.
Right.
Hirap kasi sometimes eh. Mhm.
Kevin, I'd like to ask,
Mhm.
being in the L&D space, what have you discovered about yourself, surprisingly?
I see. About myself,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I communicate better with adults. Let's go with that. I think I'm more hayward into teaching adult learners. I'm not saying that I hate students back in my academic days. It's just that siguro mas naiintindihan ko how to deliver things to adults or how to teach things to adults. Siguro if in the future, if I was about to rest na in this industry, I'd probably go back into teaching sa college level na hindi na siguro sa high school
Mm.
level. I don't know. It's just something that siguro I guess it has something to do with how the psychology of your students works. No, say you can be more relaxed kasi parang kapantay mo naman sila ng ano. You don't have to be on your feet always. You don't have to
Right.
baby them too much.
Mm.
I think that is one thing. Yeah. So yeah, and also one of the things that I discovered about myself in L&D, or yeah, is how little I know still of
Mm.
delivering lessons. Ang dami pang strategies then. I mean, yeah, I studied for 4 years. No, took up
Mm.
some majors here and there, and then nakita ko yung mga theories about it. But still, being on the field, trying to new things, yun yung mas exciting part para sa akin. Or yun yung parang
Ex-
na-discover ko, di ba?
True, true. Probably there are certain preparations that you feel like, oh, this will be effective when I do the training or when
Mm,
I try to facilitate the training. But when you are on the spot,
iba.
you'd be surprised. But I think one thing I'm also surprised about myself is the
Mhm.
flexibility, right? Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, because anything can happen even before, during, or
And
after
after, yun nga eh.
during the training. So
You,
flexibility.
yeah, you actually don't know what to expect. I remember doing my first corporate training, no, na outside of the classroom. Sabi ko, paano kaya to? Like, I can only see their faces sometimes. And I know that not all of them will turn their cameras on. So, I had to come up with games na, I used to do this kaso in the classroom setting siya. I cannot do it on online. So, yeah, you had to find out you have to find out new ways to conduct the lesson itself. But yeah, it's a developing progress. I'll admit to that. Hindi pa siya I'm not yet satisfied on what we can do or what we are capable of doing. But yeah, that's it. We just have to move
And
forward.
also, that's something that making us more excited every time we have that
Mhm.
kind of session, because you have to be quick. You have to
Oo.
be quick at adjusting. You have to be quick, and there is a certain level of grace under pressure, and you have to really deliver it the way it should
True.
be.
Kasi oh,
looking smooth.
tama. Kasi sa mga well, senior high school students, medyo ano pa yan eh, medyo hindi pa sila nagbabasa ng body language na. Ay,
Mm,
hindi pa nila masyado nahalata na ano eh. Pero when you are faced with adults, they know na ay hindi prepared to, ay nagkamali to, ay hindi
right,
ano to. Especially if
right,
they are professionals as well, 'di ba? So
true.
yeah, you have to learn to be graceful under pressure. Sabi nga ng lola ko, who was a retired principal, when teaching, huwag kang magpapahuli ng buhay.
Hala.
Sabi yan. And I took up that word every time I teach, no, na no matter what happens, ikaw lang ang nakakaalam na nagkamali ka. So don't give them the information na ay nagkamali ako. Ayan.
And then there's a certain strategy that we do. Oh, I just did that to keep you awake. I just did that to get
Oh,
your
yeah. So
attention.
you learn how to be quick on your feet, something like that.
True, true.
But I guess with the time that we have right now, bilis, patapos na pala tayo. I guess I'll have my last question for you.
Mhm.
We're talking about learners na rin naman. So how to leave or how do you leave a positive footprint on our learners? Ayan.
Right. So to exactly do that, it's planting that seed in them prior to training that they actually
Mhm.
need that they actually want, from the need to make it into a want for them to learn that particular course, so that it will be better for them. It will be easier for them to internalize the lessons that you're trying to deliver. At the same time, they would know the relevance, and you would leave that certain significance of the training that you're giving. So leaving a positive footprint happens before the battle, before the actual training, and even after. You can also do. You should always. We should always do follow up, or follow through of how they are learning, how they are using the learning that we have delivered. So it will last a lifetime. So yeah.
Ayun. All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Sir Henry. Well, uh, wow. I thank you so much, and I enjoyed learning about the different roles that L&D professionals can expect when it comes to this industry. And well, before we end up wrap up our show for tonight, are there any things that you would like to share to our audiences right now?
Right. Okay. Thank you for this chance, Kevin and CLDP and Circologica for making me your one of the guests for your weekly webcast. Um, if you have the time to really go or visit our page, just check our Facebook page. It's Dover Business Services. So you
Mm-hmm.
can just check their opportunities, what we can offer, and hopefully we can be together in the same organization and let's learn together.
Yeah. May I ask what is the nature of a Dober business service?
All right. Okay. So Dover Business Services is a shared service center. It is
Mhm.
under Dover Corporation. And what we do is we provide our accounting and finance expertise to the
Ah,
different companies of Dover Corporation. So, yeah.
I see. Well, for those who are in need of that, go ahead and check out their Facebook page. That's Dover Business Services, and search lang nila sa Facebook, and that will come up. All right.
Yes.
Well, anything else, Mr. Henry?
Yeah, I'm just so thankful to be your guest today, and looking forward to the next, I don't know, session. So I'm really attending sessions though. I'm trying to learn a lot from each of the webcasts you have. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for this opportunity.
definitely, definitely. Let's figure out a new topic, probably, no, for L&D, and let's get to that someday in the future. Well, anyways, that's all for me today, Sir Henry. Thank you so much for joining us. You've been a wonderful guest, and I hope you keep safe every day. And ingat na lang lagi for now. Kita tayo.
You too, Kevin. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks.
All right, and that was Mr. Henry Ceniza, and we've talked about the different emerging roles that we can expect as an L&D professional nowadays. I think it's always good for us to keep an open mind, no? Not just to close ourselves in a certain role or in a certain mindset na, ito lang yung trabaho ko, ito lang yung gagawin ko. It's also nice to discover and to figure out what else we can do as L&D professionals. And I hope our topic today help you at least, be familiar with what you can do as an L&D professional. And that's all for today's episode. Hope to see you again on the next one. And of course, as always, don't forget to like and share and also subscribe to our pages. And that is all for me. Again, thank you for joining us in the show where we talk about anything and everything about L&D. This is the Trainer's Lounge. Goodbye for now.